Thank you for taking the time to be part of the session. Your presence here reflects not only your enthusiasm for learning, but also your commitment to investing in your future development. Rekan-rekan, today's topic, eligibility and the application process, is especially relevant for many of our colleagues who are preparing to pursue scholarship and continue their studies overseas. We understand that the journey towards studying abroad can feel both exciting but also challenging, especially when it comes to understanding university requirements and securing a letter of acceptance. So that's why the sessions like this are so important. And we do hope today's discussion will give participants a clearer picture of the application process, practical insights on preparing strong applications, and greater confidence to take the next step in their academic journey. So on behalf of the Kemenkes CorpU, I would also like to express our sincere appreciation to Monash University for this meaningful collaboration. Truly hope that more Ministry of Health staff will have the opportunity to receive the scholarship and continue the study at Monash University. And more importantly, we hope this partnership will continue to grow beyond today's webinar and lead to further collaboration between Kemenkes and Monash University in the competency development and other learning initiatives for ISN within the Ministry of Health. Kepada teman-teman semua, insan pembelajar, rekan-rekan Kemenkes, I encourage you to make the most of this opportunity. Please engage actively, ask questions, and take advantage of the chance to learn directly from our speakers today. Sometimes one session, one conversation, or even one piece of advice can open the door to new opportunities and future achievements. I wish you all productive and inspiring session. Thank you. Salam sehat. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Bu Dwi, for the inspiring and encouraging remarks. Take the most of opportunities. Okay, that is the main message of the remarks. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are moving to the main sessions of today's webinar, eligibility and application process. It is my great pleasure to introduce our distinguished speakers from Monash University. First, we have Professor Priscilla Johanesen. She is currently Associate Dean of Research Training in the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences at Monash University. Professor Priscilla is widely recognized for her leadership in graduate research development, academic excellence, and student learning innovation. She has also received numerous prestigious awards for her contributions to education and research training. Joining her today is Ms. Cassandra Meagher, Manager of Graduate Research in the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing, and Health Sciences at Monash University. She specialized in graduate research strategy, researcher training, policy development, and stakeholder engagement to strengthen research excellence and academic success. So without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Priscilla Johanesen and Ms. Cassandra Meagher to deliver their presentation. Professor Johanesen and Ms. Meagher have 60 minutes total to deliver their presentation. Professor Johanesen and Ms. Meagher, the time is yours.
Oh. Yeah. Thank you so much for that wonderful welcome. And it's great to have the opportunity to conduct this webinar today. So thank you so much for having us. What I thought I would do is just what we thought we would do. I'm from the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences. We realise that some people on the call may not necessarily be interested in other areas of study at Monash University, so I'll talk a little bit about that as well. But what I thought I would do first is do just a little bit of background before we start talking a bit about eligibility and how to apply. Just give a little bit of background around our faculty, just so everyone sort of knows the broad discipline base in medicine and nursing and health sciences, and a little bit about Monash University. So Before I start, we also like to do a welcome at Monash University and acknowledge that our Australian campuses in particular are located on the unceded lands of the Kulin Nations, and we pay our respects to elders on past and present, and acknowledging Indigenous peoples everywhere. And so I just thought before we launch into eligibility and the application process, we would just give you a little bit of background around Monash University and also our faculty as well. So we were, as a university, established in 1958. We are currently ranked in the QS rankings of 36 globally, and we are a large university with a large operating revenue. And so we really cover all disciplines. We're from the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences, but there are also other faculties as well. And so in our faculty, we are one of the national leaders in medical education and research. We are really quite successful in obtaining funding for research from NRFF and the National Health and Medical NH and MRC. And we are ranked very highly in terms of some of our discipline areas, such as clinical and health and psychology, nursing, pharmacy and pharmaceutical sciences, and all different types of medicine. And so, as I said, we are in the Faculty of Medicine, but we are part of a bigger university that has 10 different faculties. And although today's presentation will concentrate on our faculty, we are happy to work with people who may be interested in undertaking qualifications at the other faculties as well, and connecting you with the right people. So you can see across Monash, we have faculties of arts, business economics, education, engineering and IT, law, our Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences, pharmacy and pharmaceutical science, and science as well. And so, and just to give you a sort of picture of where both our campuses in Australia, but also our campuses internationally are located. So we were formed in Melbourne, Australia. So we have our predominant campus at Clayton, but we have a number of sites around the Clayton campus and around Victoria as well. We have a campus location in Jakarta that you may be familiar with. We also have a campus in Malaysia, in Suzhou, China, in Mumbai, India, in Italy, and also in the US as well. So we have sort of campuses and have in other countries, and really have that sort of global footprint as well. So a little bit about our faculty is really one of the core things we believe in is improving the human condition and doing world-leading research and offering education that actually strives towards that. So we cover a wide range of different education, but also too, we cover research that goes all the way through from, say, basic science research through to research that's more in translation, the clinical focus, public health domains, in allied health professions such as nursing. So we have basic students and researchers working on all these sort of different domains. And so I put this slide in here just to give you an idea of sort of the scale and what that looks like. So we have over 1,700 academic staff. In terms of education, we do educate around 18,000 students across undergraduate and postgraduate coursework. We also have a large number of graduate research students, that are around 1,700. And we have around 300 graduate research completions per year. In terms of research, there is a lot of our research income is quite high at around $400 million in the annual research income. And we largely publish and have a lot of peer-reviewed publications every year. And so this just gives you an idea of obviously our main Clayton site is where it all began at Monash University, but we have a number of different precincts, both close to where our campus is in Clayton, and also at more sort of rural locations across the state of Victoria. We also have a school at Monash, Malaysia, and a school at the Monash school involvement at the Monash, Indonesia campus as well. And so we have in our faculty 12 different schools and institutes. I've listed some of these here, and I've also listed some of the areas of research which are our primary focus. So these range from things from cancer and blood diseases, right through the whole sort of health spectrum through to healthy aging. We have a strong involvement with the public health system in mental health and neurosciences. So I won't go through all of those different range of different sort of research or health areas, but that just sort of gives you an idea of all the different types of medical and health related research areas or areas of concern for community and public health. One of the greatest strengths of our faculty is that we also have a number of partners that are in the actual health sector, and we have a number of clinical partners. And so with those clinical partners, Monash Health and the Alfred Health Precinct and Cabrini and Epworth, and our sort of partnership with them means that we can have direct sort of impacts on the health of our patients and communities. And we really have that sort of bench to bedside approach as a faculty. And within that clinical network, we have a large capacity of around 7,000 plus beds, and we really serve around 3.5 million people. And so that really speaks to what we try and strive to do as a faculty to improve the human condition, you know, with those impacts around teaching the students of the people who work in those sectors of tomorrow, but then also then conducting research in those really core critical sort of health needs areas as well. And I guess the other thing that we have in addition to our clinical partners is a number of centres and institutes where students also study as well and undertake research as well. So again, these range from psychological health to discovery and translation, the clinical and primary care, as well as we have a number of education and scholarship centres as well. And it's really what I guess we're trying to do as a faculty is really cover a really broad spectrum of education, research, bringing in sort of industry, government, and then also clinical partners as well. Just to give you an idea of some of the access that both our graduate research students and researchers have access to. So we have a large number of different platforms and research platforms that help support our researchers. And these range from imaging facilities through to antibody discovery platforms, through to bioinformatics. There's a range of platforms that we have set up so that all our researchers, graduate research students, and all of our sort of researchers can have access to the sort of world-leading infrastructure that they need to undertake their research projects. And so I've come back to this broad principle, which is really what our motto is that the research is at the heart of what we do. And really what we want to do is improve the human condition. And we don't see that as having an expiration date, and that's something that we strive to. So I just sort of, before we went into the details and the practicalities of how to apply and eligibility, I just thought I'd take you through a little bit of a background so you can learn a little bit about who our faculty is, you know, and you know, what our sort of, what we sort of look like. I'm going to now hand over to Cass, and Cass is going to talk you through, I guess, the how to apply, the eligibility, and how that works for our graduate research students.
Thank you. So I thought I would start with just showing the scholarship rounds that we have at Monash University. So if applicants are interested in applying for a scholarship at our university, we have 2 international rounds. They usually close at the end of March and the end of August. This year only, our international round is closing at the end of July. We are just moving into a new student system, and we need some extra time to manage processing in a brand new system. So just to let you know, those are the dates for this year, and then in the future, it will always go back to the end of August. So if you apply for a scholarship in the end of March round, that would be for admission in the second half of that current year. So if you applied this year, you would be looking at starting from 1 July onwards up until the end of December. If you were then thinking of applying in that August round, that would be for admission in the following year, in the first half of the following year. These are important because when you apply for a scholarship, there is a set amount of time that you need to then take up that scholarship. It's different to coursework where you can secure a place and then defer for a numerous amount of time. So we just like to highlight that if you are looking at applying, you need to consider the right time, the right round to apply based on when you want to then come to Monash University in Australia, if that's what you would like to do. Priscilla did touch on, we do have a campus now in Indonesia, and we do have our School of Public Health is there. The scholarship rounds, it is different for Indonesia. So just to let you know that this is just for the scholarship rounds in Australia. If you're an international student, you apply for a scholarship that would cover both tuition fees and also a stipend. The stipend is tax-free, so it does certainly assist with the expenses of living and studying in Australia. So what is the entry requirement? The minimum entry requirement for a PhD is equivalent to a 4-year bachelor degree with what we refer to as an honours degree, with what needs to have a research component, which is quite substantial. So ideally, that research component in an honours year is around 50% or possibly more. If you don't have that degree, you could enter in with a master's degree, but the master's degree does need to have a research component. With a master's degree, we would be looking at a minimum of a 2-year degree, and that would need to have a minimum component of 25% of 1 year is research. Ideally, that would involve a research project that would have a thesis or a project component of ideally probably between 5,000 and 10,000 words. So that's just to give you an idea. We do talk about our minimum entry requirements. We refer to it as an H2A, which is an honours 2A, which is equivalent to the Monash grade of a 70 to a 79. We are aware of different grading schemes, and we can easily convert a GPA and let applicants know what that equates to in terms of a Monash equivalent. If you are looking for a Monash scholarship, you would need to be considered H1, which is the top band, so an 80% or above. Or if it was a master's degree, you'd be looking at needing high distinctions in all of your classes. There are some other ways that you could meet the entry if you had a degree that did not contain research. They're things that we can look at on a case-by-case basis, but generally, just to give you an idea, we would be looking for, what we look for is research preparedness. The key element of that, if it's not in a coursework degree or a research degree that you already hold, we would look for some tangible research outputs. And what I mean by that ideally is some research where you have been published in a reputable journal. So we do generally talk about journals that are Scopus listed in ideally quartiles 1 or 2. We do consider 3 and 4 as well, but we would be looking that hopefully you are the first author of one of those publications as well. These are things that we can talk through with applicants when you do look to apply and approach a supervisor.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions? Sorry, I should have stopped before. Like, does anyone have any questions at this stage?
That's all right.
Are we going to direct it to the Q&A sessions, Professor Johanesen?
Oh no!
Okay. We'll keep going.
Oh,
We are
we'll
going
keep
to have
going. We will keep
Q&A
going. I
sessions
wasn't.
after
no
the
problem.
the presentation.
Okay.
Sure.
All right. No worries. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this slide just shows you the pathways, which I've just talked about, but just to let you know again, so you're looking at a bachelor degree with an equivalent to an honours in a relevant field. So as Priscilla talked about, we are specifically from the Faculty of Medicine, Nursing and Health Sciences, but across the university, there's a lot of different faculties. So if you applied in our faculty, you don't necessarily have to have a bachelor degree that's specifically from a medical faculty in a different university. It could be a Bachelor of Science, it could be a Bachelor of Engineering. So what we do just refer to is that the degree that you hold should be in a relevant field that you're then going to move into when you want to do a research degree, a PhD or a master's degree. So it does need to be linked to some extent. You might possibly have a graduate diploma, which could be a research component of that, which could help you meet the entry requirement. You could have a master's by coursework that does have a research component of around 25%. You could hold a master's by research, or you could have one of those, and then you could have some relevant research experience or some outputs, which I talked about previously, ideally being a research paper published in a reputable journal. As well as the Monash PhD, in our faculty, we do offer 4 other masters that are considered masters by research. So we have a Master of Philosophy, a Master of Biomedical Science, we have a Master of Reproductive Sciences, and then we do have a Master of Surgery. So the Master of Surgery is actually very specific to people who are qualified in surgery, so surgeons who are then looking to further their career in their surgery. Other faculties have either a Master by Research or a Master of Philosophy across the university. So in our faculty and across the university, but this one is just specific to us, we will always support applicants throughout the journey. So the PhD is considered to be a 3 to 4 year degree, but we also know that there are many outcomes from the end of a PhD. And so that might be going into academia, it could be going into industry, it could be going into government or some other areas. So we've done quite a bit of work over the years of providing additional support throughout the PhD. That involves things like professional skills. We also look at providing research foundations. We offer courses to students around academic writing, presenting, all of the things that will benefit throughout the PhD. And then as you get nearer to the end of the PhD or a master's coursework, we look at then other things that you might be looking at, which might be updating your CV, having your LinkedIn profile up to date, things that will then benefit you in getting a job at the end of your PhD or the end of your research degree. So there is support all the way along. And we're particularly aware that international students do need that support, and we're very much open to providing that across the whole university, but we do specialise in that in our faculty. Okay, so if you're at the point that you do want to apply to Monash, and we do suggest that the first point is to look at whether you do meet that eligibility requirement. The next step then in a research degree is you need to find a supervisor. We want you to have a supervisor that is somebody that you're going to want to work with and they agree to work with you. So we have a few different ways that you can find a supervisor. One of them is to look, and these are live links, but I think we can certainly provide that afterwards as well. But we have a how to apply website, which links to all the different schools and all the different researchers. And you can look at researcher profiles online throughout the university and find academics who are working in the area that you're interested in doing your research degree. In our faculty, we also have a really useful contact tool called Supervisor Connect. Now, in Supervisor Connect, we actually also advertise specific projects that academics have that they are trying to find applicants to apply for. But you can also use Supervisor Connect as a way to find supervisors that are working in your research field. It's set up so you can do keyword searches, and it's quite a useful tool for international applicants who aren't in Australia to contact a supervisor. It links you to the supervisor profile, and it also links you directly with the supervisor. So once you go on to that and find the supervisor, you can click the button to actually contact the supervisor directly. It will ask you to give us some information about yourself and definitely to upload an academic CV. When you hit submit, that goes to the supervisor and they can then decide, looking at those details that you've provided, if they would then like to take it further with you. So that's through Supervisor Connect. If you want to find a supervisor through the How to Apply website, what we would suggest that you do is on that website, we have a graduate research pre-application eligibility check form. We would suggest that you would fill that form in. This is a really good introduction to the supervisor about yourself. So that form is asking you to tell us about yourself in terms of your previous qualifications, where the qualifications were, how much of those qualifications involved a research component, and what your grades were. It also asks about your research interests, the sort of area you want to look at doing your research in, whether you have any research outputs. And then what we suggest is that along with that form, you attach your academic CV and you send that to your potential supervisor. All of the supervisor profiles will have a supervisor email address that you can contact the supervisor directly. The supervisor will then ideally make contact with you and will begin a conversation around what's your research and what's your background and whether they have a project or whether you devise a research project together with the supervisor. So all of this needs to be done before you would put in a full application. So if you then secure the supervisor, they will then suggest that you go into our new my.app portal and actually complete your full application. So when you go into the my.app portal, you will create a profile, and it definitely allow time. It is a process. The system will ask you for all of your information, and then it will ask you to verify all of that information with uploads of all of the documentation. So it will ask you who you are, and then you will need to provide, ideally, your passport to then show that that's who you are. It will ask you what your background is and your qualifications, and then you will need to upload all of your transcripts to then verify that information. So please have plenty of time to do so. You don't need to do it all in one go. You can come back to the profile, making sure that you just keep saving it along the way. So if you do reach a point and you can't complete your application in one spot, that's fine. You can come back and complete it later on. But just bear in mind that it is an in-depth process of asking you for a lot of documentation. If you tell us that you have a qualification, you must then show us evidence of that qualification. That would be the transcript. You can provide your certificate, but we need the transcript that includes the grading scheme of your university as well. If you have any research outputs, any publications, again, we require evidence of that shows that publication. Okay. Moving on, just to show you what Supervisor Connect looks like, and where it's located. So it's through our website, or you can Google Supervisor Connect and it should come up. And just to reiterate, that's where you can find specific research projects that are being advertised. You can also find out more about specific researchers and what research they are doing. You can find out about our research capabilities, and you can find out from our research students what they are researching. So we do have profiles of students, and you can find out more about all of our different degrees that we offer, and then also specifically how to apply. So it's all in that space there on that website, and is really easy to navigate through and is a very useful tool for you to have a look at. So when we talk about finding a supervisor, we want you to think about this, really carefully, because it's a big commitment coming to Australia and doing a PhD for 3 to 4 years of your life, and you will work very closely with your supervisor. So we recommend that you really research the supervisor and the research areas that they're working in before approaching that supervisor. You then need to approach the supervisor, and that might take some time, and you might approach more than one supervisor before you secure a supervisor who agrees to be your supervisor during your PhD. So once you've done that, and I think we have check eligibility here, but you've probably done that at the very beginning of the process as well. But we do recommend that you're checking the eligibility to ensure that you are going to be able to be secured a place at Monash University. The supervisor will undertake interviews with you in your application, and also sometimes in that pre-application stage. They will also want to look at some referees. You are asked to provide references, at least 2. Now, ideally, they should be academic references, not references from people that you have perhaps had a part-time job in a, previous while you've been studying, but more around, a supervisor that you worked with during your undergraduate, or academics that you worked with during your previous qualifications. Okay, well, that actually brings us to the end of the specifics of how to apply. We then have a dedicated inquiry email address that you can contact me and my team directly, and we will then answer any queries you have. And then we've also just got the QR code there where you can visit our website and have a look at all the information that we've just provided to you in this presentation.
Yeah, and I think that's it. And I guess what we would do is just encourage people. I know we talked that if any question at all, just to reach out to us. If you potentially even want to have help in connecting with you have a specific research area, and you want to try and sort of work out who potentially the contacts are for that in terms of supervisors. We can help facilitate that as well, and support that as well, because sometimes it can be a little bit tricky because some people are coming with their ideas about what they want to research on and want to work out who that partner potentially might be. So we can assist with that as well as sort of all other inquiries as well.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Meagher and Professor Johanesen, for a valuable insight, insightful and inspiring presentation. And ladies and gentlemen, we now arrive at discussion and Q&A sessions. For participants who would like to ask questions, please kindly use raise hand feature or type your question in the chat box. Please also mention your name and institution before asking questions. And let us begin with the first question from Pak Nanang, Pak Nanang Kurnia.
Yes, sir. Excuse me, is that Sandra and team? Allow me introduce myself. My name is Nanang Kurnia. Thank you for the time. We very glad to meet you, even it's online. My question is only one, but actually I'm doing my job in Health Research Ethical Committee, and we are researcher, of course, and I'm a lecturer. In this case, I want to be a PhD in OZ, and maybe you can advise what kind of supervisor for me in my field. Actually, I'm hospital management in basic, and then my degree in economic management, and right here I'm still on Health Research Ethics Committee. Actually, I have a title for the thesis in PhD, of course, about 2 titles in the field of policy brief in government. I hope I could apply my research after for my government, especially Ministry of Health. Thank you for the advice.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Pak Nanang. Ms. Meagher and Professor Johanesen, you got the question?
Yes, we have a range of researchers that work in health economics. They work in public policy and procedure. So in this instance, it would probably be best for you to send us an email, and we can then provide you with a list of names of various researchers that work in those research interest areas. Okay, we have a lot of health economics and public policies and procedure as well. So the best thing to do is send us an email, and we will send you through some options of potential supervisors. And then what you can do is have a look at the profiles of those specific individuals and perhaps reach out to the ones that most align with the work that you want to do. Yeah, we have in our so we have the Supervisor Connect, where we have researcher profiles and we have specific projects advertised. We also have a number of, I would say, health workforce that are clinicians and doctors, nurses, allied health professionals that also come with their own project ideas and then work with their supervisor around that. So we do a range of sort of different types of projects. Some of them are really defined by the student who works in collaboration with the research advisor. So all of those possibilities are available. So yeah, but send us an email through that. And I think we've sent a copy of the slides, so hopefully you'll all get a copy of that. But yeah, send us an email through that email address, and we'll assist you in trying to find a supervisor that you can talk with that maybe matches your research needs. Yeah.
Thank you. Immediately I'm emailed.
Thank you.
Thank you for the insight.
And like I said, I know that there might be also people on the call that are interested in other areas that are not medicine. So I do realise that. So if everyone even also wants to email us about that, I can direct you to the different. We also work in collaboration with a lot of the other faculty. So that people can just reach out to us about that as well. So.
Yeah. Glad because I'm really like interpersonal collaboration like that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Pak Nanang, you satisfied with the answer, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Pak Nanang. Okay, Ms. Meagher and Professor Johanesen, we have questions from the chat box. That's from Lucy from BKPK. They are dealing with public policy. Yes, please elaborate the requirements to apply for PhD scholarship. Thank you. I think Ms. Meagher already said the requirements to apply for PhD scholarship, right? Maybe she wants some encouragement. What is the requirements to apply for PhD scholarship?
Okay, so if you're looking to apply for a scholarship, a Monash University scholarship, we are looking for you to have what we deem to be equivalent to an H1, which is an 80% and above in either your bachelor or your master's degree. Either of those, they must contain a research component, ideally that has a thesis, so you've written a project. We would be looking at around the 5,000 to 10,000 word mark on that research project. So in the coursework, you would really be looking at needing HDs, high distinctions in those. I didn't mention earlier, but you're probably all aware that we do, of course, also have an English language requirement that is on the website. Generally, that is an overall IELTS of 6.5 with no band less than 6. And I think that covers it. Was there something more specific that you wanted to know about applying for a scholarship?
Okay, thank you, Miss Lucy. I think that's probably satisfied the answer, right? Okay, if you are not satisfied, you can chat later at the chat box. And we have another questions from Bu Yuni from P2KA. Because we currently discussing about health and medicine study program. Are there any other study program offered at Monash University for Ministry of Health employees besides the health and medicine study program?
Are there any other study programs offered at Monash Uni? Oh, so I think you can, I'm not sure specifically in terms of the Ministry of Health. Are you referring to if you came with a Ministry of Health scholarship?
She's currently working at Ministry of Health, but because we are currently talking about a health and medicine program, maybe she's asking questions whether any other scholarship other than the health and medicine study program.
So the scholarships we talked about in the scholarship rounds, we talked about right across the university. So obviously we've talked in context to medicine, nursing and health sciences, but that scholarship program operates across all of the other faculties as well. And they follow the same sort of timelines. So that's quite the same across that scholarship program is the same right across the university and all of our different faculties. So if there's areas of interest outside or potentially too in other faculties like engineering and even business and that sort of things, they also do a lot of different aspects of health and, in faculty of arts as well. Actually, in a lot of our faculties, they do that as well. So I think if there is a specific research interest area, again, I think the easiest way, because it's trying to find those connections that sometimes can be very difficult. So you can just, that's why we've given our email address, and we are more than happy to sort of help you connect with the broader university as well. The other thing is too, potentially, if you have access to your own funding or other sources of funding, you can also talk to us as well, because we've talked about the Monash scholarship rounds, but we also have students that potentially come with the other, say, government sponsored scholarships, other types of scholarships that they have access to, and so we can talk to about those types of scenarios as well. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Professor Johanesen. That's, I think, very crystal clear, yeah. The calendar that Ms. Meagher explained earlier consists of calendar for all faculties in Monash University to apply the scholarship.
Yes, that's so the calendar for scholarship applies right across. It's a Monash University Australian campus calendar. Yep. Yeah, for applications of scholarships. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Professor Johanesen. Okay, the next questions from Bayu Triantoro. Okay, she's currently a nurse practitioner in Regimen Wedodiningrat. Previously, this is a mental hospital transforming to general hospital at this moment. From your point of view, do you think it is better to have letter of acceptance after or before proposed and granted scholarship? Does letter of acceptance have time limitation?
Yes, so when you talk about a letter of acceptance, so an offer letter from Monash University, the offer is limited. So usually when you're applying, because you need to secure a supervisor, you've talked to that supervisor about your proposed research, you then want to begin your research very soon. So if you apply, the maximum is 1 year, but ideally you wouldn't be applying until you're generally ready to start within the next few months. So with the 2 scholarship rounds, when you apply for the scholarship, there's about 6 to 8 weeks processing time. And then when the scholarships are announced, you have a window of time, which is 6 months, that you need to accept and come to Monash Australia. So that 6-month period obviously gives enough time for you to apply for your visa and do those things that need to be done. So when you're looking to apply, you want to be coming to Australia within the next 6 months or so. There is a time limit, which is 1 year, but that is only on the offer of admission. So the time limit is really looking at around 6 months if you're granted a scholarship.
Yeah. But in order to apply for a scholarship or to apply to undertake a PhD, you have to have a supervisor. You have to have already it's a good idea to you have to have a supervisor already. So the usual process is potential applicants, and once you've identified someone at Monash that is in the area of research that you want to work in, you're having a conversation with them before you're putting in your application, typically. So, and just making sure too, a PhD is a big undertaking. So you want to make sure that you actually, when you're aligned with your supervisor in terms of research, that you also feel comfortable with your supervisor, that you feel that will work really well as well. And so that supervisor student matching occurs before people are applying for a scholarship. And again, as I've said a couple of times, we're very happy to help. Specifically if you have your own area of research in areas that you've worked in and you are working in, we're very happy to try and work with you and to find that right supervisor that you can talk to about your interest area. Because we do know sometimes it is a little bit challenging because of our size to actually find people. So yeah, we're more than happy to help with that. Yep.
Okay, thank you, Professor Johanesen and Ms. Meagher. So, PhD is a very big opportunities and a very challenging opportunities. And one of the question, I think, finding finding potential supervisor in order to finish the PhD. So, thank you very much. And the next questions come from Fitria Denok, Palupi. He is from Poltekkes Ma. Poltekkes is health polytechnics, yeah, some kind of universities. Okay, thank you very much for today's seminar, Introduction to Monash University. And currently preparing application from Australia Award Scholarship for PhD in Nutrition and Public Health Nutrition. The research interest is related to chrononutrition and functional local foods, particularly their effect on postprandial glucose response and metabolic health. Very interested in Monash because of strong research environment and nutrition and chronic disease prevention. She already contacted several potential supervisors at Monash whose research aligns with her interest, but she has not yet received any feedback. She's completely understand that academics are very busy, but she was wondering if you might have any advice or tips for international applicants like her regarding the best way to approach potential supervisors or improve the chance of getting response. Okay, finding potential supervisors, I think.
Yes, yeah, and that can be challenging. And I know that, and it can be even challenging for our academics with all the things that they're doing at the moment with teaching and research. Sometimes they are very busy, but I think in this instance, as we've indicated, please reach out to us, and then we can talk to the supervisors and have a chat to them and say, oh, you know, they may not be, you know, aware in the emails that they've got this email, or you know, they might also just be super busy at the moment. So I would suggest that you please reach out to us, and we can have a look and help you with looking at your eligibility and help you then with finding then getting connected to the right supervisor.
Okay, thank you, Professor Johanesen. So it is possible to contact you directly, so you can contact the supervisors?
Yep. Yeah. So that med research degrees, because that's one of we realise, especially with international students, that is one of the challenging sort of areas. And yeah, so yes, you can, if that med research degrees email address, please send us an email, and we will try and support and connect you to the supervisors.
Okay, thank you, Professor Johansen. That's a very big help, yeah. Okay, and next one from Bayu, midwifery department at Poltekkes, also health polytechnics. You have questions about midwifery PhD subject. Is it under nursing department or for midwifery supervisor? Are they specifically midwives, or they can be from nursing? Is there any scholarship program for midwifery PhD?
Scholarship, well, from the Monash side, there isn't a specific scholarship program for nursing and midwifery. Our scholarship program is for all students and all disciplines. There isn't a specific tailored program, but the department is nursing and midwifery. So you would have supervisors in that school that can supervise projects that are specifically related to midwifery. You may have nursing supervisors that then that can do more general nursing, different types of things, and midwifery. So yes, that skill set does exist in our nursing and midwifery department.
Okay, thank you, Professor Johansen. That's very clear. And about the email, I think.
Oh yeah, no, we'll put it on. I'll ask Cass to put
I'll put that in there. Yeah.
It was on the slides, but I'll get Cass to put the email in the chat. Yes, and we do have someone mentioned masters in the chat as well. So there is the Masters, we do have a Masters of Philosophy and Masters programs as well that are research-based. If people are interested in understanding more about potential coursework programs at Monash University that have both a coursework and small, perhaps research component, or different Masters coursework programs, we can arrange someone from that Masters coursework space and that Masters space to do a webinar if that's of interest as well. We are obviously specifically graduate research and research degrees, but yeah, if that would be useful for everyone, we can work with our colleagues here and organise that for you as well. So I think Cass has just put.
Yep.
Cass has just put the link in the chat. So yeah, we realise there's a lot of people on this call, and there'll be lots of questions. But yes, we're happy to support any of your questions and link you to the right people.
Okay, thank you, Professor Johanesen. This is very valuable. Everyone can see the email, I think. If you want ask questions or you want to connect faster with your potential supervisors, I think you can contact this email. Thank you, Professor and Ms. Meagher. And other questions from Desi Deswita. She wants advice about potential supervisor for children with diabetes care. Should she have publication article as first author in Scopus or for letter of application acceptance?
Yes. So there are different entry points. So if you're not looking for a scholarship, the entry is lower in terms of the grades and your previous qualifications. If you're looking for a scholarship, to be more competitive for a scholarship, to have some publication articles as first author in Scopus would definitely make you more competitive for a scholarship. So it's not essential for entry, but we also appreciate that most international students are looking to secure scholarships. So if you're applying for an Australia Award scholarship, so you may not, then obviously you don't need a Monash one, then you may not need those papers, but it certainly makes your application more competitive.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Meagher. So it is better, to have a publication as first author at Scopus to be more competitive if you are applying for scholarship,
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Meagher. Is there any other questions from the participants? Maybe about the application process, the scholarship preparation, or how to proposal or finding potential supervisors. I think finding from the audience. Not yet. Okay, this is a very, very valuable opportunities. Maybe, Professor, you can answer what is, there are some, you are talking about eligibility criteria. What are the most important eligibility criteria that applicants from Indonesia should pay attention before applying to Monash University?
Yeah, so the important thing we're looking for in terms of eligibility is what we say is research preparedness, right? So a PhD degree is also further research training, but the entry sort of pathway in is having a look at the qualifications that a student has done, perhaps with a thesis component to those qualifications, with potentially good marks in those qualifications. But one of the things we're looking at, if a thesis has been done or as part of those qualifications, is what grade, what potential grade. I mean, knowing that some gradings only pass fail sort of gradings as well, sometimes on those theses. But where we're looking at the eligibility criteria in terms of the courses that people have undertaken and whether they've got a thesis component to that and what those marks look like. Then on top of that, especially one of the things with international candidates is often we are looking at publications as well. And having a look and really looking at those publications where they have been published, but also what those publications show. It's really the basis for that is we want to make sure that our students are successful when they come here and have a little bit of a basis already in research, knowing at a certain level, knowing that when they enter into a PhD, they're doing that further training to prepare them for whatever career they may go into, whether it's industry, government, whether they sort of even remain at their home institutions and then start running their own research groups and become known as that person who's doing that specific research and start to develop that sort of reputation for that research. So in terms of eligibility, we are looking at the prior degrees, what sort of and then also what additional types of research outputs have you've done, and it's just really assessing what research preparedness and preparedness to undertake the PhD.
Okay, thank you, Professor Johanesen. So we are expecting everyone to be successful, yeah. Sometimes the problem is about adaptations, yeah, about adapting to culture. Is Monash University support international students, especially students from Indonesia, in adapting academically and culturally in Australia?
Yeah, so yes, we are a very international. If you come to Monash Clayton, we are a very I would say international campus. We are cognizant of sort of cultural differences potentially between domestic candidates and international candidates. At the campus, we have a lot of support for international students. A lot of the international students even form their own communities with each other from their same home countries. But there is a lot of support for international students for those sort of cultural sort of integrations as much as the academic integrations. So that does exist, and we can send links to some of the international programs that exist on campus. But we are a very culturally diverse. Our PhD students and our students on campus are very culturally diverse. And so there are those extra supports in place as well, because a lot. I mean, it's our belief. I don't know. My belief too is education is international, and the more that we can learn about different cultures from each other is really important. And I think that's probably one of the values of Monash University, which is why they've recently sort of broadened to have those international campuses as well.
And Melbourne as well is a city that is very diverse. We're a very big multicultural society. So it's a great place to be and meet other people. We also have a postgraduate association on campus who very much looks after international students. They run induction sessions specifically for international students. They run social events specifically for international students. They're a really good group to get involved with as well.
Thank you, Ms. Meagher and Professor Johanesen. So it is a very culturally diverse in Australia, in Melbourne, and in Monash University. So there's nothing to be afraid of if you go to Australia or to Monash University, right?
Okay. Yeah. Well, we thought we know that there are some Indonesian students at Monash, and even our faculty, but even more at Monash at the moment. And we were discussing when we were talking about this talk, we thought it might be useful to have some of our current students come and talk. And if that was something of interest, so that they can maybe talk a little bit about so we can talk about some of those sort of more academic, but with the more cultural aspects, so that they could actually just give their, talk a little bit about their experience and how, at Monash Australia and how they're finding it, and maybe some of even the challenges that they've faced, as well as some of the good things that they're finding. So if that would be of interest, yeah, we could potentially ask the students whether they'd be interested in doing that, because that would answer some of those sort of key questions. And then it's better to hear from the student who's having the experience than perhaps from myself. So, although I did do a PhD at Monash a long time ago, but you know, that's obviously a different sort of experience as a domestic candidate than as an international candidate. But yeah, so we if people want to learn more potentially about a student experience, we can sort of arrange for students to come and have a chat. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Professor Johanesen. The next questions come from Noor. She's from Health Human Resources. She's interested in studying in law, especially in health and medical law. She wants to ask if she already got letter of acceptance and haven't got scholarship yet. How long she can get deferring the LoA letter of acceptance?
So usually the rule is 1 year. So from the date that the offer was made, you can have 1 calendar year. And then usually if you haven't been able to secure the scholarship and come, that offer will lapse, but you can always reapply.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Meagher. Rule of thumbs, 1 year, yeah? Okay, thank you. Any other questions from our participants? These are very, very valuable opportunities. Okay. Maybe in your experience, what are the common mistakes applicants make during application process?
So one important thing during the application process is to make sure that you provide all the relevant documentation. So as I touched on earlier, if you are going to say in your application you have a qualification, you must provide the transcript to show us that. Anything that you state that you have, you must have evidence to support that. And that's a really key thing. If you're applying in a scholarship round, there's limited time to get all the evidence together. So if your application is missing documents, that's not a ideal application. Also remember, as an international applicant, you require a valid English test result, and they only last for 2 years. So you do need to consider when you undertake your English test so that it is valid when you apply.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Meagher. Because we are talking about English test, what is the level of English proficiency generally expected
So
in
it does,
IELTS, in terms of IELTS and TOEFL score?
yeah, so it does differ across the university depending on the faculty. Some faculties have a slightly higher entry requirement. The Faculty of Medicine, we require an IELTS with an overall 6.5 with no band lower than 6. But I would recommend that the students will look at the website that clearly shows what tests we accept and what those scores are required. Yeah.
I was going to say we could link in the chat, but it's not, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the slides we have.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, okay, thank you, Ms. Meagher. Professor.
Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Sorry. I was going to say, so yeah,
okay.
we were in the slides that we will send through, that they've been sent through to, there's the links to the English language. So yeah, the different scores, because some faculties have a slightly higher expectation. So yep.
Okay, so the difference on the faculty they are applying, right? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Meagher and Professor Johanesen. So any other questions? Because I'm the one still asking questions, I think. Okay, thank you. How can applicants make their statement of purpose or motivation letter stand out among many other candidates?
I think the statement of purpose, or if you are contacting supervisors, whether in our faculty or other faculties, it's good to show that you act, obviously you're reaching out to that person because you really you've looked at their research area. So it's very good to perhaps give some indication that you might have looked at their research papers, or that you and describe then how what you want to do as a researcher perhaps aligns with their research and what they've done in the past as well. So I think one of the key things to securing a supervisor or talking about your expertise and motivation for wanting to do a PhD is to do that. Why are you really passionate about the research area that you're proposing? Why have you reached out to this supervisor in particular? Because, you know, obviously that you've found some alignment and what they're doing is interesting you. So it's just indicating to the supervisor why you're reaching out there specific and then what broadly your motivation and research interest area is as well.
Okay, thank you, Professor Johanesen. Maybe some of us still hesitant to apply. Is there any advice that you can give to us who are still hesitant to apply abroad? What encouragement or advice would you like to give for us to take the first step?
I think okay. So I think the first step is, I mean, it is always quite scary to go overseas and make a commitment to going overseas for 3.5 years, right? And even for longer. Like I did go overseas when I was a lot younger, and it can be quite sort of scary to think, oh, I'm going to another country to work, or I'm going to another country to study, and you'll be away from family and even the environment that you know. I guess what my advice is, and this is speaking from me, is that all the times when I have been a little bit scared or a bit concerned about, oh, how's this going to go, it actually is quite good to challenge yourself, and it turns out most of the time it turns out better than you think it will. And you know it even though it feels like a very scary decision, it is sometimes good to do some of the scary sort of things that might be a bit scary for you. It helps you grow as a person, to learn about different places and different cultures as well. And I think what I would say, and this is from my own personal experience as well, is, and I know it is a big commitment to move overseas, and I know that sometimes then there's also the thing of you think, oh, I don't want to do, I want it to be successful when I go. But potentially if things don't go okay and you change your mind, you potentially can just go back. You know, you can change your mind and do something else. And I know that's not normally the ideal scenario, but that in life, that is always something that you can do. Yes, I never thought, when I was a young person, I never thought that I would either work overseas, go overseas. When I never thought I would do a PhD. This was not, you know what I mean? I never thought I would do all of those types of things. So I think even if you are a bit hesitant, I think have a chat to some people. We'll see if we can connect, reach out to us. We'll see if we can connect you to potentially students that are here, that might want to, that you can just have a chat to talk about their experience. They might be open to doing some even sort of peer mentoring around that, so that you can talk to others who potentially have been in a similar situation before. So again, reach out to us via that email address. We might be able to connect you with current students here, that you can have a peer sort of network type session with them to actually just sort of talk about it, and just do a little bit of research to find out, oh, well, is this right for you to do right now? Is it something you might want to do later? And just, yeah, it's sort of just thinking through all of those things yourself in what's right for you. A PhD is a big commitment. I always advise students to really think about, well, what is the purpose of me doing the PhD? Sometimes it's people who are working in the healthcare industry who want to do a PhD because they've found a problem that they really want to do the research on and have that evidence base for it. Some people are really interested in moving into careers where a PhD is needed, and that's their motivation. But I really encourage people as well to think about, well, what they want to do after they do their PhD as well, right? Because it is a big time commitment. So, really think about, well, why am I going to do a PhD? where will I be in the future. So
Okay,
yeah.
thank you, Professor Johanesen. That is a very encouragement word, because we are talking about 3 or 4 years commitment overseas. That is a very challenging situation for most of us, I think. That's a very scary
Yeah.
situation, but it is good, I think, to time to challenge ourselves. Okay, but you have to be ready for the challenge, of course, for every kind of situation, for every kind of problems they are going to face. So that requires very high commitment from all of us in order to finish the study. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Professor Johanesen. Maybe, in your opinion, what qualities distinguish successful international applicants from others during the selection process?
Cass, do you
So in terms of the selection process, we look at the entire application holistically. So while we do talk about needing to meet the minimum eligibility requirements, we do look at everything. So we don't just look at the qualifications. We also look at where the person has studied, the quality of the institution, but we also look at if they have relevant research work experience. So if when you are putting in an application, think about all the things that might be relevant to doing a PhD. It's not just based on that academic qualification that you have. So we do look at everything. We look at whether you've won some awards and prizes, whether you have some research experience, some work experience. We look at the things that you've done previously.
Thank you, Ms. Meagher. So that concludes that you have to take all things into consideration. Besides academic qualifications, you also have kind of evidence to support your statement. Yeah, because when you say everything in your statement, you have to provide evidence that your statement is true. Thank you, Ms. Meagher. Okay, any other questions from the audience? Because it is a very, very valuable opportunities. You can also contact the email, yeah, Professor Johanesen and Ms. Meagher, if you have troubles about scholarship applications. Also, you want to connect with specific supervisors at Monash University. If we don't have any questions, maybe 1 or 2 words from Professor Johanesen and Ms. Meagher to conclude today's session.
I want to say thank you for all coming along today, and thank you for the opportunity for us to just talk to you a little bit about our faculty and what we do. We did discuss it through this, that we are a very multicultural institution. So we welcome students from all different countries. So we would just like to encourage you to really think about, many people are probably thinking about the type of degree they want to do, whether they want to do a PhD, and all those types of things. We'd encourage you to think about why you want to do the PhD, and we want to encourage you to, and just to stress, if you have any questions at all, that is our role here, is to support future students and applicants, and to provide them with the right advice. So please, you can ask us any question, even if you think it's a bit of a silly question. Please just write to us and ask. If you're unsure of anything at all, we're here to help students. That's one of our primary roles. So please just reach out to us. Cass?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for listening to us, and we hope that you have gained some information and knowledge, and hope that maybe Monash might be your destination of choice. It's certainly a great university and a really great city to come to and spend some time. The weather is getting a bit cold now, but we welcome the seasons. Yeah. That can be something very new for you, is to come and live in some cold climate for a little while. But then when summer comes, it will remind you of home, because it can be pretty hot as well. But look, thank you very much. And as Priscilla has said, don't hesitate to contact us, and we can certainly help facilitate conversations with supervisors or other faculties we're here to provide some assistance and knowledge for you. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Meagher and Professor Johanesen. Everyone give round of applause to Ms. Meagher and Professor Johanesen for a valuable insight in today's webinar. Okay, thank you. And everyone, we have now reached the end of today's webinar sessions. On behalf of the committee, I would like to express our sincere appreciation to Bu Dwi Meliani and Professor Priscilla Johanesen and Ms. Cassandra Meagher and all participants for active participation and enthusiasm throughout this webinar. Before we officially close the sessions, kindly noted that an LMS session or Learning Management System class will be open immediately after this webinar. Participants are encouraged to complete the learning activities and attendance confirmation through the LMS platform. Please be informed that LMS access will remain active only until today at 23:59 Western Standard Time. We kindly encourage all participants to complete required activities before deadlines. Okay, in closing these sessions, allow me to close this session with a quote. Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And that one is from Nelson Mandela. May today's sessions become one of the meaningful step forwards for future academic and professional journey. Thank you very much for your attention. My name is Fredrik Lumbantobing and signing off as your moderator. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and see you in future sessions with Kemenkes Corporate University. Good day, everyone. Thank you, Ms. Meagher. Thank you, Professor Johanesen.
Beasiswa LPDP dan saat ini sedang mengambil S2 di University of Edinburgh, jurusan Comparative Public Policy. Kalau ditanya kenapa mau kuliah ke luar negeri, sebenarnya secara pribadi karena jurusan lebih beragam di luar negeri dan juga untuk memperluas wawasan kita. Di era globalisasi zaman sekarang, banyak permasalahan yang tidak mengenal batas negara, sehingga itu menjadi poin penting kenapa kita belajar di luar negeri. Kuliah di luar negeri itu mempertajam critical thinking yang membuat kita agile atau lincah di tengah-tengah dinamika masyarakat sebagai pelayan publik. Nah, berbicara tentang metode belajar, kalau di sini untuk jurusanku kuliah tatap mukanya 3 kali dalam seminggu dan sisanya kita belajar mandiri. Dan untuk metode ujiannya itu ada yang bentuknya ujian tertulis dan ada yang berbentuk esai kita kerjakan di luar kelas. Cultural shock pastinya ada. Sebelumnya di Indonesia saya lihat turis, sekarang saya aja jadi turis. Kita beda dari fisik kan. Untuk rekan-rekan Kementerian Kesehatan yang mau kuliah ke luar negeri, ada 2 poin penting yang perlu diingat. Yang pertama adalah kita yakin dulu tentang bidang apa yang akan dipelajari. Ini bukan hanya membantu kita ketika proses seleksi beasiswa, tetapi juga menjadi sumber motivasi bagi kita ketika menempuh studi. Dan yang kedua adalah kita optimis terhadap kemampuan bahasa Inggris kita, karena saya yakin kita semua punya investasi di dalam kemampuan bahasa Inggris sejak dini. Jadi teman-teman yang mau kuliah ke luar negeri tetap semangat ya.
Halo, perkenalkan saya Suyandri Silalahi, Pegawai Biro Perencanaan dan Anggaran Kementerian Kesehatan. Saat ini, saya berkesempatan mengikuti short course atau kursus singkat di kota Wellington, New Zealand melalui program ELTO atau English Language for Official Program. Dalam kesempatan kali ini, saya akan berbagi informasi mengenai beasiswa yang saya terima, serta bagaimana suasana studi di New Zealand sehingga dapat memotivasi kalian semua yang ingin mengembangkan kemampuan berbahasa Inggris melalui training langsung di negara yang komunikasi sehari-harinya menggunakan bahasa Inggris. Berbicara mengenai beasiswa yang saya terima, NZLTO merupakan bagian dari program beasiswa Manaki yang diberikan oleh pemerintah New Zealand kepada government employee atau pegawai negeri sipil. Jadi, peserta dari program ini adalah PNS dari berbagai negara seperti Indonesia, Vietnam, Kamboja, Laos, dan Timur Leste yang datang ke New Zealand selama lebih dari 3 bulan untuk meningkatkan kemampuan berbahasa Inggris, serta mempererat hubungan bilateral antara Indonesia dan New Zealand. Adapun beberapa persyaratan yang dibutuhkan untuk mendaftar program ini antara lain: 1. Peserta merupakan pemerintah yang berasal dari negara terpilih yang membutuhkan bahasa Inggris aktif dalam pekerjaan sehari-hari guna menunjang kebijakan. 2. Proses seleksi dilakukan melalui kedutaan besar New Zealand di masing-masing negara. 3. Usia peserta 25 sampai dengan 45 tahun. 4. Memiliki kemampuan bahasa Inggris dengan nilai IELTS 4,5 sampai dengan 5,5. Dan yang terakhir, bukan merupakan lulusan magister atau doktor dari perguruan tinggi luar negeri. Program LTO ini sudah ada sejak lama, dan saya merupakan peserta di angkatan ke-60 yang berlangsung mulai Februari sampai dengan Juni 2025. Untuk tema angkatan kali ini adalah Good Governance atau terkait dengan pelaksanaan prinsip-prinsip tata kelola pemerintahan yang baik sebagai pegawai negeri sipil. Jadi, setiap angkatan itu temanya berbeda-beda. Di angkatan ke-60 kali ini, ada 48 peserta penerima LTO, dan 10 diantaranya berasal dari Indonesia. Ada dari Kemenkeu, Kemensetnak, Kemenpora, BKN, Pemprov Maluku, Pemprov Papua, Pemprov NTT, dan Imigrasi Atambua. Saya merupakan pegawai Kemenkes pertama setelah 59 angkatan diadakan, dan saya sangat bangga dapat mengikuti kursus bahasa Inggris ini langsung di New Zealand. Meskipun dirancang hanya 3 bulan lebih untuk belajar di New Zealand, menurut saya program ini sangat menarik karena saya belajar di Universitas Victoria sebagai salah satu universitas terbaik di New Zealand, dan semua proses pembelajaran dilakukan dengan bahasa pengantar bahasa Inggris. Interaksi di kelas yang lebih banyak ke diskusi aktif juga untuk mengasah kemampuan reading, listening, writing, dan juga speaking. Selain itu, banyak juga tugas-tugas pribadi, jurnal, kuis, dan berbagai assignment lainnya atau kita sebut sebagai independent learning. Ada juga kelas khusus untuk training IELTS, dan di akhir program, kita akan dibiayai untuk mengambil ujian IELTS resmi. Untuk akomodasi, dipasangkan dengan teman berbeda negara, sehingga memaksa kita untuk selalu menggunakan bahasa Inggris di apartemen. Diperkenalkan dengan partner orang New Zealand asli, untuk menjadi teman sekaligus menjadi pembimbing kita dalam berbahasa Inggris di luar kelas. Selain itu, kita juga melakukan kunjungan berbagai tempat menarik, antara lain field trip ke Rotorua untuk belajar budaya Maori atau orang pertama yang tinggal di New Zealand, kunjungan ke parlemen, dan kunjungan ke kementerian. Serta kita juga mengenalkan budaya Indonesia melalui performance show. Terima kasih atas dukungan semua pihak sehingga saya bisa berada di sini. Ibu Kepala Biro Perencanaan dan Anggaran, Ibu Kepala Pusat Pengembangan Kompetensi ASN, Ibu Kepala Biro OSDM, Kedutaan Besar New Zealand untuk Indonesia, Kedutaan Besar Republik Indonesia di Wellington, teman tim kerja di Akanan Fisik, dan seluruh teman-teman Biro Perencanaan dan Anggaran. Semoga setelah saya, akan banyak pegawai Kemenkes yang dapat mewakili Indonesia di program ini, sehingga nantinya Kemenkes dapat mempunyai generasi muda yang berkualitas, khususnya dalam meningkatkan sistem kesehatan di Indonesia menjadi semakin baik lagi.
semua, perkenalkan saya Eka dari Direktorat Jenderal Penanggulangan Penyakit Kementerian Kesehatan. Saya mau sharing nih, Alhamdulillah awal tahun ini saya bersama dengan katim saya, Mbak Dini, mendapatkan kesempatan untuk training Health System Management and Leadership yang diselenggarakan oleh Japan International Cooperation Agency atau yang disingkat JICA. Training tentang apa ya dan bagaimana sih trainingnya? Begini guys, program ini bertujuan untuk mengembangkan pandangan mengenai tantangan sistem kesehatan dari perspektif manajemen. Jadi harapannya peserta bisa berkontribusi pada perbaikan sistem kesehatan di negaranya masing-masing berdasarkan ilmu yang didapat dari training ini. Pesertanya dari mana aja ya? Ada dari Azerbaijan, Benin, Ghana, Liberia, Kenya, Senegal, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Egypt, Filipina, dan kita Indonesia. Karena pesertanya dari banyak negara, maka pengantarnya pakai bahasa Inggris. Satu lagi nih guys, saat training nggak melulu di dalam kelas, tetapi kita juga diajak ke prefektur yang telah dipilih oleh tim penyelenggaranya. Prefektur yang kami kunjungi adalah Shiga Prefektur yang terkenal dengan danaunya yang disebut Biwaku, dan ke salah satu kota yang bernama Jama City yang berada di Kanagawa Prefecture. Di Shiga Prefecture dan di Jama City, kita mendapat informasi bagaimana manajemen sistem kesehatan dilaksanakan. Aturan yang ditetapkan oleh pemerintah pusat tetap menjadi acuan dan disesuaikan dengan kebutuhan di masing-masing prefecture sesuai dengan prioritasnya. Selain ilmu yang bertambah, yang jelas kita juga bisa mengeksplor tempat-tempat di Tokyo yang jadi ikonik para wisatawan yang berkunjung. Ilmu dapat, kenalan dari berbagai negara bertambah, healing pun dapat. Oke, see you guys. Sampai ketemu lagi.
Halo semuanya, saya Ririn, analis kebijakan dari Paskas Kementerian Kesehatan. Saat ini saya sedang menjalankan program Secondment selama 1 tahun di Coalition for Epidemic Preparedness Innovation (CEPI) di Oslo, Norwegia sebagai Senior Advisor in Policy Department dan juga Senior Manager di R&D and Innovation Department. Beberapa hal yang saya lakukan selama melakukan Secondment di CEPI ini antara lain melakukan analisis landscaping untuk Africa Vaccine Manufacture, kemudian juga membantu CEPI dalam mengembangkan side event agenda untuk G20 Presidency South Africa. Selain itu juga membantu untuk engagement strategi antara CEPI dengan CSO dan juga membantu teknologi scouting di mana kita mencari riset-riset inovasi dan penemuan terbaru yang bisa mendukung vaksin development untuk SEPI?
Banyak yang beda, kultur kerja berbeda. Kemudian juga teman-teman di SEPI itu banyak yang memang berasal dari berbagai negara, dari Eropa, dari Amerika, dari Afrika, dari Asia. Jadi menyenangkan ketemu dengan banyak teman-teman dari banyak negara. Yang jadi harapan selama secondment di sini, yang pasti secara pribadi saya pengen belajar lebih banyak lagi mengenai global health, kemudian juga bagaimana bekerja di dunia internasional. Terakhir, saya mau mengucapkan juga terima kasih banyak kepada semua teman-teman di Kementerian Kesehatan yang sudah mendukung program secondment ini. Harapannya semoga bisa terus dilanjutkan dan juga bisa lebih banyak program secondment lainnya. Dan juga saya minta doa kepada teman-teman, semoga saya bisa menyelesaikan program secondment ini dengan baik, sehingga nanti bisa memberikan influence positif mengenai Indonesia di dunia internasional. Terima kasih.